A Nelson landlord says he's fed up with providing a home for renters after being left with a clean-up bill likely to run into thousands of dollars. Barry Thompson says it's taken months to evict the tenant from a Richmond property he owns after he became suspicious of what she might have been using the property for. The Nelson accountant owns several commercial and residential properties and says he likes to give people a chance. The 81-year-old told our Nelson reporter Tracy Neal via Live View he'll find it difficult to trust another tenant after he says she turned his property into a rubbish dump.
She had a person from a church who guaranteed her and came along and saw us, and we took him at his word. And I must say he's been very good. But very quickly she came out of control and had people living in the garage. We found we couldn't get into the house. I came out here 2 or 3 weekends to see if I could see her, and everything was closed up, but she was inside, we believe. Then I found out recently, believe it or not, that all the light bulbs have been taken, and I'm told that they are used for drug manufacturing. I didn't realise that until this morning. But
so
anyway,
Barry, how long has this tenant been in the house?
Oh, she's been in the house for, I would think, about 8-10 months. We tried to get her out some months ago, and one of our staff members would have liked to have taken the house. We had to give her 42 days notice, so we did that. Well, she told us lies, she connived ideas and everything, and it's taken us, I think, probably nearly 4 months to get her out.
Can you describe the damage to the property?
Well, the damage is, if you have a look at the garage there, it was just a simple, clean garage when I saw it last. It's now lined with Pinex tiles, which we think were there to avoid or cut back noise.
What about the house itself?
The house itself, just about every door that was in the house had been knocked off its hinges. Some of the doors into the bedrooms had stoppers on them, proper stoppers, but they still ended up, the doors were slammed so hard against the walls that the door handles showed images on the the Gibraltar board.
So what sort of cost do you think this has reached in terms of...
It will be huge because they've broken windows, everything, nothing's working. All the drapes, the lady who was here before was excellent, and all the drapes that we'd put in with her have wrecked. The holding rails on top are broken. There's 2 or 3 of the windows been broken from the outside, forced so they could get in, and the whole thing is a complete shambles.
So the rubbish we're looking at here behind us, this is only a fraction of the pile it was, I understand.
Yeah, I understand that the guarantor came in here last Friday and he took away a huge load on a truck and got rid of it to the tip. But that lot there is what's left that he couldn't take, and he's taking it away today. He just arrived in here just a few minutes ago. But there's still a lot of rubbish at the back behind the garage. There's supermarket trolleys. There's a recyclable bin that's full of rubbish. Shouldn't be recyclable stuff. It should be, but it isn't. You couldn't believe. There's even bikes and things like that. There's behind me here. There's 2 or 3 big car tyres, and until about 3 weeks ago, there were 3 old Mercedes cars in the car park next door, which had their number plates taken off them. You couldn't work out who owned them.
So Barry, I understand this is one of several rental properties you own, is that right?
I own a few, and I'm tied up. I'm an accountant. I've been in business for 55 years in Nelson, so I've got the odd property. And to be quite honest, I'm mainly commercial properties because I just don't like residential because of the troubles we've had in the past.
Tell me about some of that.
Well, the main trouble we have is with the bond system, for instance. We found out many years ago that when we asked for bonds, the government department wouldn't pay us the money for back rent and that when the person left. They had to pay it to the tenant, which seems to me to be, to put it mildly, crazy. This girl we didn't get a bond from, but it would have been no use anyway. She's in arrears about $2,500 in rent. That's not my worry. I like to help people, but frankly, I don't feel like helping this person.
So how much rent are you charging a week for this property?
We were charging a very low rent. I think it was $280 a week. I don't like screwing people. And when another reporter came here from the newspaper and had a look yesterday, she was absolutely astounded. She said, "I'd love to be in this place." She said, "It's lovely." She said, "It's a beautiful place. It's got a nice outlook, and it looks out into the sports grounds. It's private, everything like that." And she said she just couldn't. She was horrified. She couldn't understand it.
So this has put you off renting properties to private, to residential tenants?
Oh, look, I'd tell anybody who comes into my office, stay clear. The only way I recommend people go into rental properties, if they go into a 2-unit place where they live in the one next door, you can at least keep your eyes on what's going on.
Nelson landlord Barry Thompson speaking to our Nelson reporter Tracy Neal. The guarantor wouldn't say more than he is now devastated by what's happened.